Okay,
I have my gavel, like Chris Wallace has, about the meeting. All right, we call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock on August 15, 2022 at the town hall. A motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Minutes. We have the minutes of August 1st. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as presented? If not, motion to accept.
So moved.
Second, John, second. Got that, Wendy?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Good job, Wendy. Thank you. Okay. Highway report. Mike, you got anything?
A couple members of the park committee approached me about doing something with the drive up into the park that we did. It's kind of a drop off on the low side. My suggestion was to use ditching material to just fill it in there when we go clean some of our ditches to the world and get to. One of the members wanted sure pack up through there. And then their area for the porta potty, which would take probably a little sure pack. Put that in. So that was brought to me. I just feel I kind of needed to know from them. What is it they really want to do there? Do they want to use sure pack, or they just want to use the ditching material along the road to fix the slope?
Well, you have to be drive, so you're gonna drive on it, or is it just,
That's up to them. I mean,
if they drive on it, you're gonna need something more than,
right, if they don't have a passing lane there, I guess. It's just on the drive up into it, it's not in the parking area. So it's up to them if they want to be able to drive on that. If that's the plan.
Is it a roadie? Is that why they?
No, we built the road up like a foot when we put it in there, so there's really no shoulder to the road, basically. So it's either we can use ditching material and just slope it off, but if you want to be able to drive on it and pass two cars in there, you'd have to put something a little more stable. Sure pad or gravel, whatever.
well, who asked you to do this?
Susan approached me about it first, and then Al Sands approached me about it.
It's just, do you know, Susan, if they want to drive on it, you know?
No, I think there's some discrepancies, as Mike said, in what they have in mind. So I think we need to take time to get those straightened out before we bring recommendations to the select
I
board.
agree.
Plus, we need to know if the sure pad is the way they want to go, what the cost of that would be, and whether that fits into our budget.
Right.
So I think that, as Mike said, we're just not sure what.
No, I don't think we have a plan yet.
Yes.
As far as what we're doing, we replaced the culvert, we got some more to go. Dave's mowing them back pretty good this year, so. And I'm running around, grading is probably not gonna be too expensive because it's so dry, so. So we get a little rain, it's kind of hard to pack the roads back down once we loosen them up. Rain for rain.
Were you able to, deal with the problem with the beaver? You mentioned a couple weeks ago?
The Skip went over and he cut a hole through the old deceiver that's there and got the water running out. And still, I'm not sure what he's gonna do with that yet. Came down, I think, talked to Bill.
Yeah, but when you want to fill
I asked him for a plan. I haven't visited the site yet, but I asked him for a plan because he wants to put in a pond in order to protect that culvert. And I don't understand, so I need to go see the layout, but I asked him to, before we go any further, to lay out a pond and about the cost of what it would cost to do that there. So, and he wants to put in a dry hydrant, which I think is a great idea. It would be great if the select board could talk to Rockingham and get them to share the cost of doing the pond and that, because they don't have any dry hydrant. They don't have a fire hydrant anywhere near any of those houses over there on that part of Cambridgeport. There's a lot of houses over there, so they seem to me they would benefit, and as much as probably more than we would with the dry hydrant in there. And maybe they would share a cost if you're going to put in a pond and a dry hydrant. The dry hydrant itself, and you can speak to this because I'm not sure about that. The dry hydrant himself could be often you can get a grant, the hydrant itself, but in building the pond and all the rest of the stuff, that's all different.
There is grant money, I think they should look into that first.
Yeah, but anyway, he was supposed to give me something.
I think we need a plan before we can,
Pardon?
we need a plan before we can do it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's what I told him.
What exactly are we talking about?
It's the corner of Louis Marshall Road and
Anderson.
Anderson Road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. FEMA, who's gonna talk about FEMA?
FEMA,
Good news.
all four projects have been submitted, all the financial work has been done on them. I'm hoping that very soon, the 270,000 will be spent, and then the 5% from the state, another 15,000 to be sent from the state. So we should have all that shortly, according to them. We've done everything we needed to do to get the documentation into them, and that's all done. I'll make this really short. The ledge road is going forward. There were some hitches and some arguments, and then they said, oh, okay. And so the ledge road is going forward. Jamie is forming it up right now and probably be poured on Wednesday. And, so we're fine with that project, and that's a 90% project too, so, and it's based on what it actually costs, because we had some engineering in it too, that we added in, and then the supervision, what do you call it, management, town management, it's all added in to the price, so it'd be around 180, 185, probably when we get it done.
Okay.
And do we owe anything on what we received, the 270 of the 15,000? Does the town owe anything on those projects? FEMA,
We paid all the money.
we paid it all up front.
We paid for everything.
Yeah, we paid for that.
We paid all the contracts, that's all.
I'll review that, so, thank you.
So what is the total, to Kathy's comment, what is the total amount of reimbursement we are expecting?
270.
Plus 15.
Plus,
the state.
plus another, a plus 15, because the federal government went to 95% on this, went to 90% on this, and in our position on ERAF is such that we should get another 5% from the state. The emergency response fund could pay us another 5%.
So is that a total of 285 then?
And change. I don't know if there's a little bit more.
Anything else on the highway? If not, clerk and treasurer, I don't think she's on, is Kim not on?
No, she's not, and she didn't have anything.
I talked to her today, she said she had nothing. Okay, the act on the resignation of the town administrator effective September 30th. I think the only thing we have to do there is approve the ad. And let it get going.
Well, you should accept the,
Well, I guess we should accept the resignation, but we need to get this ad in the paper ASAP, as far as I'm concerned. Because, you know, time is going by. So I guess we need a motion. I guess we need a motion to accept the resignation. Okay.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Well, I think we should thank Bill for his years of service to this community.
No way. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay, so then now I guess we need a motion to accept and the dates that it's gonna run. Is that what we need to do? I know we need to accept to the ad, but we're gonna run 3 weeks, I think, is that it?
it's up to you, it's up to you guys, whatever you want to run it,
If you were running it.
yeah, and it would be, so in the ad, I think it just where I have the X's, if you have to fill in the X's. And then, whether you want to include the application form on it, or you want, in this case, just have them submit a resume, whichever you prefer. That's in this little print down here. You need to decide how you want, what do you want it to say?
So Phil, on the website, it looked like there was the shorter version of the ad that would be printed, and then a link to the town website where the town administrator job description would be. Is that right?
It'd be just like we did for the highway.
Okay. So, I think that's a great idea because then whoever's applying knows the complete story of the job, not just what we can contain in a small ad. But on our website, we then need to create that link and make sure that the job description is there.
Well, it would actually, what you have in front of you
Yeah.
would be what will be on the website. One link will have that with the job description, and it's much like I did for the town highway. And it's just a question if you want the application form there. I think for this job, you probably people will use a resume, I would think.
Although I think it's good to have some of the data that's on the application.
Either one. We can,
Yeah.
I can,
Yeah.
Did we just mirror what we did on the last week with the, as far as the sources? Just a half a dozen.
Is that okay with everybody?
I'm sorry.
No, just to use the same sources that we did for.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
motion.
yeah.
I think that job link are only gonna be able to put the description on.
And Bill, I wanted to ask you if it's going to be a comfortable situation for you to receive applicants for the job that you currently have.
I don't look at them, so I don't care.
Okay, all right. That sounds fine.
Can we come up with a deadline date? A deadline date when these applications are due?
Well, we need to pick the dates. So you want to run 3 weeks?
3 weeks sounds good.
Okay, that will start next Wednesday with the Commons and with Vermont Journal.
Right.
And it'll go on VLCT sooner, and I can put it on the road site sooner, the local roads.
Right.
And if you want to handle the unemployment, okay.
Well, when the deadline for the paper's coming up, do you want to put something in the draft and move through?
Yeah.
Usually it's around the 25th, I think.
Deadline sound 1 month from today, does that sound reasonable? This gives you,
Yeah.
That sounds good.
I think that timing will work.
And so, again, we don't have a formal motion, but can you write it down what we're going to vote on? I mean, the dates in 3 weeks.
Yeah, so you want to, give me a date then, that it's the deadline for
It'll
application.
be 3 weeks.
So we dropped the ad,
September
I think it's gonna. Yeah.
September 15th. Okay,
So you say it'll run this,
It's the next Wednesday.
next one.
But some of the VLCT and will be sooner and on the website.
because they, and then I believe like the job link thing, I think they usually post them for a month, but you can post them however long you want. Whatever the date is, we were in the problems last time. How the deadline date, the person's gonna turn out that it was the last date the ad would run, the last day the ad would run. So that's why we shifted it over 3 days or whatever it was. So we should do the same thing this
Okay, it would be the 24th, the 31st, and the 7th, and then the 15th would be this. So I wouldn't run it the 14th, I would just do I just said 24th, 31st, and the 7th.
So does it sound like the deadline is reasonable for the 15th of September?
Yeah, I mean, it gives the
Full
people
week from
who
today.
look at the ad on the 7th a full week.
Yeah.
And the people who look at it early, almost 3 weeks.
And the other thing is we'll run that length of time
Yeah.
also.
Okay. All right, so who made the motion? I don't remember. Well, somebody make a motion and we'll have a second.
Well, making a motion for the,
To approve the ad, the 1 3 weeks, the whole thing we just discussed. Somebody want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we're gonna run the ad on administrative. And I say mirroring what we had just done for the highway department, the same, format.
It works for me.
And then we're gonna wrap this up on September 15th.
The deadline to receive the applications would be
Do we have a second?
second.
Okay. Any other discussion? If not, oh, go ahead.
The other thing I would like at some point the select board to look at, the job description with a serious thought of, when a candidate looks at this, there's a lot, and I wonder how many candidates we're gonna get.
Kathy, I think that what has to happen, you run the ad, and when the candidates come in, you're gonna pick the best one who's gonna have the qualifications. And then you can decide later. I mean, you're not gonna be able to handpick candidates. Some candidates are gonna be strong one way.
I
and these are
understand that though, but I think the board needs to look at all the duties and responsibilities that
Okay.
it has done. And, there is overlap with, some of these things, and we need to take a look at it.
All right.
I don't think we need to do it, maybe even the next meeting, but what are you gonna do for highway committee?
Yeah,
Take it seriously.
I don't think it should be the same one that we just used, but at least I don't think it should be. Yeah, because it could be, but,
what, same committee?
I'm thinking it should be a new one for it, but I'm
Why?
not sure what. It just seems like,
All right, but that's another, let's see what the
Okay, all
motion.
At
So-
least in terms of discussion, Joe, since we're mirroring the highway department process, it seems like we should open the, position up to internal candidates first in the highway department. Kathy and I, as the personnel committee, entertained possibility of applications internally. It seems like we should do the same for this job.
I don't understand.
we have people.
Open our job up to any internal candidates for the job first,
Well,
not before running the ad,
what
but
internal candidates do we have?
Yeah, that's what I'm not.
I think that we would open that possibility up for people to apply and see if there are any internal. I can't predetermine who might be a candidate. But it seems like we should at least offer our people who are current employees the same opportunity as we did with the highway department.
No, I would agree with it. I just don't know who.
But why can't we approve the ad
Oh, sure.
and then deal with that later on, whatever, okay? So,
I'm
I
all
mean,
for approving.
Let's
that.
deal with the ad first, and then we can discuss something else, okay?
Okay.
All right, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now, to your concern, if you want to open it up, you have, the ad's not going to run for a week. How do you want to do that?
Well, Kathy, I don't know how you feel about it as a personnel committee. I think we should just make it known as we did with highway crew. I mean, what we did with Mike and Dave is we just gave them a call.
And we have all the employees here except for one.
It would be great if we could drag someone out. It'd be a lot easier.
You might consider going full-time for this job. And I don't think they should be, not included, excluded. It's a great job, and it just seems to me the fair thing to do would be to make it known. to our employees.
So you're gonna talk to, yeah, do it. If I'm reading it right.
I don't think we need a motion.
Let me
we
make
just
sure
go through
that, let me make sure. Yeah. As,
No, that's fine,
okay,
it's fine.
it. I mean, does anyone have any, yeah,
we'll just send an email.
let's go do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
I do want to say one thing, though. I did reach out to Sue Pacone because she expressed interest a year ago.
Who's this?
Sue,
Oh,
and she has 20 years of municipal experience. And I did send her an email. And I said, if you're still interested, there's an opportunity. And she wrote back and she said, if it was a year ago, I would apply. But they just bought a house in Cornell. She's settled over in the thing, and her husband now has moved from Dredge Cottage, so that she's out on the island. So there, but she would have been a good candidate to, no, it didn't work. Okay, hiring committee, what's going on?
We're just waiting for the deadline of the 24th. I hadn't talked to Kim for a couple of days. I don't know if there's been a lot of activity or not. But we're just waiting for the 24th.
They getting more applicants?
I don't know that.
Anybody know that?
As of the other day, we haven't. Have you heard?
I asked, so I know, and we've got three.
Okay.
3 more besides the one we had, or
No,
3?
we've got three total as of this one.
So I knew of the two then. Yeah, okay.
Same one. The same ones that,
Yes, that we're carrying over, so the one new of that. If John, if I'm hearing right. So the one new.
I didn't ask who they were.
What would you think of the idea of posting this job at MKT if June were great? I mean, I'm thinking that a lot of, people in town go through MKT and people from out of town go in there and get a cup of coffee or whatever. And it just might capture someone's attention. We have a little time before the deadline. Having said that, though, I hadn't talked to June about this. It would be totally up to her whether she permit that or not. But
We posted on a little board.
Why don't we post it outside here? That
Yeah.
would make more sense rather than asking her to do it.
It is posted.
Oh, okay, so it's already there.
yeah, I was thinking that there's more traffic.
But she, I mean, I certainly wouldn't have a problem with it. I don't know if she would or not, but I certainly wouldn't have a problem with it. Probably not my
I
problem.
think they have a bulletin board, Kathy's point. They do.
I don't know.
And there's so much traffic.
There used to be, I remember, before Bill came, I was doing the agenda, and we posted at the town hall, we posted at the library, and we posted at MKT, but I don't think we posted at MKT anymore, do we?
The problem with posting at MKT, there was no room. It was like trying to post on this
Right.
board outside the post office. And so, and they didn't want to at the time, just reserve something for the town, so I stopped posting there. So it's at the library and 2 places here. We have to have it in 3 places,
Right.
at the libraries, outside this building and inside this.
I mean, I could ask, like,
That'd be
don't
great.
ask.
That'd be great.
Okay.
You might mention it to the real estate people too, because more and more people are buying houses here and would like to be able to live here, but can't because of no work, there's nothing to do, so. My point being that maybe that's a source as well.
That sounds great.
Okay. Hey, the more the merrier. That's how I look at it. Committee reports, the cemetery, Mr. Dowd has agreed to donate the acre of land. A complication has arisen. He is in land use. And Bill, you can explain the possible situation that we're gonna have to face. And speaking to the authorities today.
Yeah, the land use. I mean, the most important thing is you got this, when this transfer takes place, right before it hits the office here, you have to file the LV, that's Louis Victor 314 form, transferring the property to the new person, which is the town. Ordinarily, there would be a fine paid by the town, since we don't have anything in current use. But since the town doesn't pay taxes, there probably won't be. He says it's only happened a couple times, and he says he's sure it was waived, the fine was waived. But the complication is, he has to do for that 3/4 of an acre that he's given the town, redo his land use maps. His forester has to redo the land use map. Don't know what that costs, don't know how complicated that is, I have no idea. And, Morton would have a really good idea. He's a forester, he probably does this. And Nick, who I talked to up there, said that that would probably work. So like everything else gets complicated simply because there's all these rules, but if the town is going to pay all the costs, then there would be that cost of him redoing his current use. Now, the thing with that LV 314, if you don't file it properly and timely, he has to start over. That can't happen. This,
So we're gonna have to research this thing and see how much it's gonna cost, but he's agreed. Now, I did reach out to Mr. Jones, who was the other abutter. And, he's still thinking about it, and so he's gonna let me know, let John and I know, in the end of August, beginning of September, whether he's still interested. And then we would have to go meet him, and then we would have the two pieces. So that's where that thing stands.
Who's the other side? Who's the other?
Jones,
Bruce
Jones.
he bought Tyler's place.
But, he's, this has been going on now, what, 6 months, a year, whatever. So I'm not sure whether he's having anything, but we should find out at the end of the month or in September when he comes back in and he's willing to meet us again. But there is a problem, if he doesn't really understand, is that right now they use the cemetery as a right of way to get to his property, but his real right of way is not passable. So once we shut him out, then somebody's gonna have to open up this right of way again. It's got huge trees in it.
Is that Jones or that?
Well, Down doesn't need it. Jones is the one that's got it.
Jones would.
Yeah, so that would be another complication, but then we'll face those problems when it comes.
Do these, go ahead, Kat.
Go ahead.
Do these same rules apply if Dowd sold us the property, or do they only apply because he's?
Doesn't make any how, as long as you transfer the property.
Okay.
So Bill, you mentioned it has to be in a done in a timely way. Is that up to the town attorney?
I would do that, or I would ask Tim Morton if he would help with that process, because I'm sure he's dealt with it on other properties. But if he's not familiar with it, you need to have somebody familiar to make sure that when you transfer it, that thing, everything is transferred right, and that he's taken care of with his mapping.
I guess
I think what Bill is, this is probably not gonna happen for 6 months to a year. And there'll be another administrator, so we have to keep in mind that whoever is gonna take Bill's place, that whether it's the administrator or the attorney, but it has to be done, so that if it actually comes to pass, so.
I thought I was referring more to the, Larry Slayson, that's the attorney. Because you sent something today
About the,
from VLCT.
Oh, that was the gift of the land.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was gifted land. I wanted to make sure, pardon me?
This is additional, what you sent.
Yeah, that was simply a question of when land is given to a town,
Right.
can the select board accept it and do what they want with the land? And the answer to that is yes, with the caveat that you better know that you're not getting what is called a Superfund site that you're gonna end up having to clean up. And I mean, that's overstating it, but basically, you need to know, you need to have somebody do a title search to make sure there's no problem.
so we would have to have the attorney do a title search and
Yeah.
do that. Highway committee?
We were gonna go over the traffic ordinance, but talking with Bill says we should wait until the sheriff department gets back after they've gone over it. So we should probably postpone that. Am I right in that?
I have a message into the first sergeant asked me for that, and I heard back from him. I know he was going through some medical thing. I don't know if he's on vacation. I don't know what, but I'll talk to Lisa and see if make sure he's around. If he's around, then, because his concern was that it be it be properly written so that the court accepts it. And I don't, and so I want him, he doesn't need to go through all the detail. I just wanted that the format of it is such that the courts will accept it and enforce it.
And who writes that? The town administrator or the sheriff?
Say again,
Who writes the format?
it's all done. And I sent it to him. It's in the format that Westminster's that the first sergeant gave to me, by the way, how to find that. There are choices in there, once it gets passed in, there are choices that the select board has to make, and your first
meeting
on that should be a public meeting with everybody on speed, on signs, on everything, and you should know, give an idea from Mike, the cost of implementing it, if there are a lot of signs that have to be added. Most of the speed signs are there. If you're gonna add stop signs, then we have the cost of the stop sign.
Yeah, and this has to be, once it's in format, it has to be done in public hearing. Because there might be residents who don't want the stop sign, or they don't like the speed limit that you chose.
And that's not, you don't have to do it that way, but I would start with a public hearing and make sure that you hear from everybody. Because it'll come back to bite you. It might bite you then, but it won't come back in that.
I have a question on signs. Do you need the highway or V-Trans to do a study before the sign is put up?
No.
No.
We would if we wanted to go lower than, what they did years ago is in the law, they described the type of road. And as long as you stay within those guidelines, you don't need a study. If you want to go slower or faster than the guidelines, then you need a study.
I was thinking particularly of the yield signs that are confusing down by 121 and crossing over the bridge into Cageport.
You could have them study that intersection if you wanted to, or you can make the decisions on your own.
And just to clarify, what are the steps in, I know we've just decided to postpone awaiting the sheriff's input. When do we schedule the public hearing?
Soon as we get the word back that everything is okay, then the highway will meet, the board will then take a look at it, and then we'll put it on the agenda at a public hearing after that.
Got it.
So we get the first look at it, and we can make decisions, and then what they can't make a final decision until they have a public meeting, because there might be some residents who don't agree, and the board might want to change their mind.
Thank you.
Parks Committee, I mean, I don't think there's nothing except, we just have to wait. Personnel,
Question for Bill on one of your to-do lists that you had sent us was clean up the personnel policy. What specifically did you mean?
I want to make sure that we have the final copy that you had done. I don't know that we do. So look at the thing and make sure that we have send me the one you think is final, and let me compare it with the one we have in the book. That's all I need to know, because
The only
and then I have one other request for the person after me who is going to rewrite the policy at some time in the future. Send it to the town in doc form that can be edited. Not that we're going to edit it, but it can be edited, so it'll be on the computer, and if somebody want to work on it in the future, they'll have it in doc form. That's all.
the only
Are they dated?
Huh?
Are they dated?
They're dated.
Yeah.
They have
They're signed.
footnotes.
They're dated and signed. I just want to make sure.
Pick the one that's the latest dated, and there you go.
No, I
We'll
want to
we'll do
make,
that again, Bill, no problem. It's double checking. I understand what you're doing.
The only thing I can recall that we discussed last was the sick days with COVID, which was a town policy. Does that need to be in the personnel policy?
no, you're calling the health department.
buildings, I know we had things on the buildings. So-
Yes. The Division of Fire Safety came and made a visit. If you want to take them in order, the first thing, when he came up and I told him about the closet in the stairway, he said you cannot have a closet in the stairway because people will put flammables in there, and that is a safe space. When you leave this room in case of a fire, there can't be anything flammable in that space. So the closet cannot be there. So after all the struggle with the closet, I think we probably should decide on its fate, which is probably to eliminate it. And Kim and I talked today, and she wants to find a nice, old, but nice wood cabinet, tall cabinet that we can put just to the right side of the entry of the floor where that multi-drawer thing that we don't, we just that table sitting there, put it right there. There isn't really any other place to put it once that closet goes away. So something like that, that would be one, do it or have them build it, but that would be the place. So that would be the decision that we made, that we don't have any cost of them building. Unless it's the same as what they were gonna charge us.
And if that is the case, then we have to have a motion to take the $1,600 out of the Four Seasons contract.
Right.
Could we direct those funds to be used to purchase the kind of cabinet that Kim would like, or does the funding not apply to such a project?
That might not be a bad idea. I would say up to, yeah.
Well, somebody want to make a motion to that effect?
Second,
Okay, so the motion is that we're getting rid of we're gonna amend the Four Seasons contract, and that money would go towards a suitable desk or spiled something or whatever you want to call
Interior, I don't know,
it. Every closet or something. Cabinet, that's it, we got in there. We have a second for that?
I said
Oh,
it.
do we, and, okay, so all in favor? Opposed? Okay, Bill, that takes care of that one.
Okay, the 200 amp project is going ahead a week from today. And it starts at 8:30 in the morning. Hopefully we don't run into anything. And it's all marked out here on the lawn. And once that is done and the wires are over to the building, then the electrician, who we've already contracted with, will bring that service in and do what he needs to do to convert us to the 200 amp service. When the Division of Fire Safety was here, he looked at our handicap plan. He doesn't think that it meets the current standards. The ramp itself doesn't meet the current standards for width. And it needs to be redone, but he's willing for us to do that when we have the money to do it, that part of it. However, there is no parking for handicap. And this little plan that I put in front of you is what I got back from the architect. I am to submit this with the application for a permit to use this building for a meeting room to Division of Fire Safety. And Division of Fire Safety is probably going to come back and say, okay, temporarily for the width of the ramp, it isn't wide enough, especially at the top corner. And but he'd probably say it's okay right now. But he insists that you need to have that parking now. And so my proposal, so today I talked to 2 paving companies. I have not heard back from them. I left message for 2 paving companies, I should say. Wilkes rather, and O'Brien. And I haven't heard back from them, but I sent O'Brien, no, I sent Wilkes this because I have their email address. And hopefully we'll hear back from them soon. I would like to be able to, I'd like permission from you to bid this out immediately because the Division of Fire Safety says we have to have the parking before we can use this room under the permit.
I'm not quite clear where the parking's going, Bill, could you just explain that?
Yeah, that, if you look, this is the front porch, this is the front porch. This is the ramp going, this is the post office here, with ramp going down, with the two yellow posts that are in the bottom. And then those two yellow posts are in a block that is gonna be a no parking block.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, and then to the left of that, on your thing, is the parking area.
okay,
And it's 13 feet deep. The last 3 feet of it or so is the people, for somebody, it's that striped area for getting out of the vehicle. But we were talking before is had pavement is probably going to be okay. It's enough base, but where the lawn is to put in road base and have, while Jamie is here digging these holes for the 200, maybe he could, there's not very much to dig, maybe he can use his little excavator and dig that out, and the highway can put the dirt in there, so.
and that's all within the town right of the
Yes. It's way into it.
way within.
So we need a
But
motion,
I will talk to, I will make sure that Bob is up to this.
so we need a motion to authorize Bill to put this paving project for handicap out to bid.
The other immediate,
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay.
the other immediate thing is the thresholds to
There's one.
the thresholds, the doors.
They're gonna do that. If they're gonna address that when they're doing the building.
Okay.
So was there an additional cost for this design from, what season?
I have no idea. I mean, we're under contract for them to do that. They should have done this. If there is, I'm gonna complain because they should have done this at the beginning. Because they didn't handle this, any handicap parking at all. So I'll talk to Danny about that if there is.
And has the fire marshal approved already the parking space going in this
Yes,
location?
he's fine with the location. He said that's perfect. He just needed the plan.
So,
And there may be more good. So the three people, and if anybody has anybody else, the three people I was gonna,
two. There are two.
well, the two people, yeah, those two people on the team. I mean, I can also ask Springfield, but it's, I may have to ask Springfield, so I may need three, so, yeah, if I need three of them, Springfield.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, so any other discussion about putting out the bid? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Do you have anything else, Bill, on the building or whatever?
I had one other thing, but not necessarily on the building, I know about it, but I'll think of it before the end of the year. I do have something, but
Go
I
ahead.
need to ask, but
Want to do it on other business?
under other business.
Yeah. And not,
If I remember.
Can I ask one more?
yeah,
I just want to pick up on the point you made about all seasons perhaps should have already added this parking space or.
No.
Oh, did I not?
Daniel, the
The
architect and the
Okay.
engineer should have called.
So would you put this situation in the context of a surprise? I mean, if you hadn't called the fire marshal, Bill, how far along would we gotten on this project without knowing about the entranceway with the closet?
Well, we
and the
got
parking?
a whole year on it because I was absolutely, when I called Landon a year ago, he said, when you're ready to go, it's to make your permit. I called Landon this year and he said, why didn't you have us look at it? And so Landon Wheeler is this guy's supervisor over in the Division of Fire Safety.
Mhm.
And, I didn't really like his tone either, but maybe he's having a bad day. But anyway, so when Steve And what he said, yeah, you should look at, so we would have known about it had we, had Landon said something to me that last year.
Well, it was a good catch.
Well, the other thing is, we came up here and he did go look at the back stairs and said they can be done in the future. They will have to be steel, they will have to be enclosed because it's outside and winter. But we can do it when we have them.
And they didn't look at the bathroom.
Speaking of that, who were gonna give you that information?
Huh?
Speaking of that, who were gonna send over me that information that you have on that?
I Googled it a long time ago.
All right,
But,
all right.
okay, but, yeah, I don't. There's a way to come back. Everyone I talked to at that time, I hadn't found somebody our size. That is, everybody I talked to was talking about redoing the fire escapes on a huge building, and we were not within anywhere near the scope of work that they will.
We also discussed the capacity for this room was 50 and under.
Say again,
The capacity for this room,
is 50.
50.
And because it's 50 and we accept 50, there's a whole bunch of stuff we don't have to do.
I see. That's good to know.
There, nothing on the wastewater. Other business, Bill, you have something, other business?
Hopefully it wasn't an emergency.
Okay. Public comment? I don't think we need an executive session. It's on here, it was put on here, but I don't think we need that, I think we can solve it, so. If not, the next regular meeting here is in 3 weeks, it will be Tuesday, September 6th. Which is, because Labor Day is on the 5th, so it'll be on Tuesday. Okay, we need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Well, thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Well, you could build, I would get a break. Yeah.
Oh, man. But did you? My job. It's gonna happen, and I'm thinking.
Well, there's something else too. There's something that I have to bring it up. I did talk to him. The problem you have. Just gonna be a forward. And every time you put a forward, the face goes up. And if it goes down, if next year the whole division goes, it's because you can't take it away. So when I